So guys, here is the Superfriends version 2 deck list for you. Let's jump right in. Before we look at the deck, just want to talk about it briefly. The idea of this deck is to use the removal spells in duels to generate a favorable board state so that we can play our planeswalkers and win the game through our planeswalkers. So we're just going to show you what is in the deck. Okay, so kicking things off with 2 Oath of Nissa, which is a 1-casting legendary enchantment. Oath of Nissa will allow us to look at the top 3 cards of our library, and then we can reveal either a creature, a land, or a planeswalker card from among them, and then we get to put that into our hand, and the rest will go on the bottom in any order. Now, the also advantage of Oath of Nissa is that it allows us to spend mana as though it were any mana of any colour to cast planeswalker spells. So it helps us colour fix for off-colour planeswalkers, and it helps us colour fix in that way. Really good card, helps us dig through our deck and find either a creature, a land, or a planeswalker that we may need. Moving on to 2 Oath of Chandra, which is a 2-casting legendary enchantment. When Oath of Chandra enters the battlefield, it will deal 3 damage to target creature an opponent controls, and at the beginning of each end step, if a planeswalker enters the battlefield under our control this turn, Oath of Chandra does 2 damage to each opponent. So it's really good, helps us close out some close games, and it's another piece of removal. Moving on to 2 Declaration in Stone, which is 2-casting sorcery. I've talked about this card a bunch on my previous deck text. It's so good of a removal spell. It's great against tokens and great against cards that are pretty hard to deal with. We're playing 3 Fork in the Road, which is a 2-casting sorcery card. We can search our library for up to 2 basic land cards, and then we reveal them. Now we'll put one of them into our hand and the other into our graveyard, then we shuffle our library. So it's really good to be able to fix our mana that way, though we are losing a land into our graveyard, but it's not such a big loss because we can always try and colour fix. Playing 1 Nissa Vastwood Seer, which is a 2/2 legendary creature. When it enters the battlefield, we can find a basic forest card and put it into our hand, and then shuffle our library. And when we have 7 or more lands, we get to flip Nissa Vastwood Seer over into Nissa Sage Animist, which is a planeswalker with 3 loyalty. The 3 modes on this planeswalker are really efficient. You know, being able to dig through our deck with the +1 ability, being able to create a 4/4 creature is great, and being able to make our up to 6 of our lands become 6/6 creatures just wins games. So all 3 modes are really efficient. We're also playing 2 Oath of Gideon, which is a 3-casting legendary enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, we create 2 1/1 white cord ally tokens, and each planeswalker we control enters the battlefield with an additional loyalty counter on it. Very good, helps us get to our ults a lot more quicker. Also, the 2/2 white creatures that we create are really good chump blockers when we need them. We're also playing 2 Oath of Liliana, which is a 3-casting legendary enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent sacrifices a creature, and at the beginning of each end step, if a planeswalker enters the battlefield under our control this turn, we create a 2/2 black zombie creature. So it's very good that when our opponent loses a creature, we don't lose a creature, so we can create board positions, favourable board positions. The advantage of having a 2/2 creature whenever we play a planeswalker and we successfully get onto the battlefield is fantastic. It creates such great board positions for us. We're also playing 2 Anguished Unmaking, which is a 3-casting instant. We exile target non-land permanent, and we lose 3 life. For 3 mana and 3 life, we can deal with anything that is not a land. Very efficient spell. We're also playing 2 Read the Bones, which is a 3-casting sorcery. We can scry 2, then draw 2 cards and lose 2 life. Now, to scry 2, we have to look at the top 2 cards of our library, and then we have to decide which order to put them back on top of the library and put the remaining on the bottom of the library in any order. so it's very good to be able to fix our draws. We're also playing 2 Radiant Flames, which is a free casting sorcery card. It has Converge, which means that it will deal X damage to each creature where X is the number of colours of mana spent to cast Radiant Flames. So most of the time this will do 3 damage, which is great against the aggro decks because it can sweep away those early creatures that usually cause us some problems. We are also playing 2 Woodland Wanderer, which is a 4 casting 2/2 creature. It has Vigilance and Trample. It also has Converge, which will mean that it will enter the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it for each colour of mana spent on it. So this can usually be between a 5/5 and a 6/6 creature with Vigilance and Trample, which helps wins so many games. It's absolutely a beating. We are also playing 2 Languish, which is a 4 casting sorcery. All creatures get -4/-4 until end of turn. Great at dealing with early threats. You can use this as like a combat trick as such as well, and it's really efficient in those situations of dealing with early threat or dealing with it as a combat trick as well. We're also playing 1 Gideon Ally of Zendikar, which is a 4 casting Planeswalker with 4 loyalty. Now each 3 of these modes are okay. We don't really use the 3rd mode. We use mainly the top and the middle mode, if I'm honest with you. We want Gideon to become a 5/5 threat that is indestructible and prevents all damage. We want that. It will help us win games. We can also, for 0 loyalty, create a 2/2 white knight ally creature. So it's really good that we can create a blocker if we need to, and also make him into a potential threat himself. We're also playing 1 Nahari the Harbinger, which is a 4 casting Planeswalker with 4 loyalty. Each 3 of these modes are really useful. Being able to dig through our deck is really good for +2. For -2, exiling a enchantment, a tapped artifact or tapped creature is really efficient. And the ability to be able to search our library for an artifact or a creature card and put it onto the battlefield and have it had haste and be able to attack, and then we get it back into hand, is just absolutely nuts, and it's a beating when we do it. We're also playing 1 Arlinn Kord, which is a 4 casting Planeswalker with 3 loyalty. Both of these abilities are really good. The fact of being able to give a creature +2/+2 and Vigilance and Haste is a thing, and the fact of making a 2/2 blocker is great. And then not only that, we get to transform it, and it has 3 more abilities beyond that. So its abilities are really efficient. +1, being able to give all our creatures +1/+1, and Trample is good, helps us get 3 for more damage. The -1 of doing 3 damage to a creature or player is really good at closing out games and killing off creatures. And then the -6 to have our creatures have haste and then tap to be able to damage to equal to their player, to target creature or player, helps us close out games when we need to as well. It's fantastic. We're also playing 1 Archangel Avacyn, which is a 5 casting 4/4 legendary creature, has flash, flying and vigilance. When it enters the battlefield, creatures we control gain indestructible until end of turn, and when a non-angel creature we control dies, we get to transform it at the beginning of the next upkeep into Avacyn the Purifier, which is a 6/5 legendary creature with flying, and when it transforms into this creature, it deals 3 damage to each other creature and each opponent. So as you can see, as a 4/4, it's a definite big threat, and when it's a 6/5, it's just absolutely a beating and so good. We're also playing 1 Planar Outburst, very different for this deck. We usually play 2, but we're playing 1 this time. 5 mana sorcery card, destroy all non-land creatures. We can awaken for 8 mana, which means that we will make one of our lands become a 4/4 elemental creature, which means we can sweep the board and we can hit for 4. It's really that good, and I have won a fair few games with Planar Outburst. We're also playing 1 Ob Nixilis Reginited, which is a 5 casting Planeswalker with 5 loyalty. Each 3 of the modes on this Planeswalker are really good. The +1 and being able to draw a card and lose life is efficient. The -3 of being able to destroy any creature is great. And the -8 of giving our opponent an emblem that whenever we or they draw a card, they lose 2 life, which is great at closing out some close games. I'm also playing 1 Livana The Preserver, which is 6 casting of 5/5 legendary creature. It has flying, and when it enters the battlefield, if an opponent has more life than us, we gain 5 life, and if an opponent controls more creatures than us, we get to create a free white angel token, which is fantastic. So we can try and catch up on board states, we can try and catch up on life as well. It's a really good card, and for 6 mana on a 5/5 with those intact, it's really good. A worst case scenario, this is 6 mana 5/5 as standard, which is not that bad. We're also playing 1 Greenwarden of Murasa, which is 6 casting 5/4 creature. When it enters the battlefield, we may return target card from a graveyard to our hand, and when it dies, we can exile it. If we do, return a target card from a graveyard to our hand as well. It's great at returning stuff back from our graveyard back to our hand, and it's a good little creature as well. It's a 5/4, pretty sweet. We're also playing 1 Chandra Flamcaller, which is 6 casting planeswalker with 4 loyalty. All 3 modes are pretty good. The +1 of creating 2/3/1 creature red element creatures with haste is a thing. Being able to discard all our cards in our hand and then draw that many cards for 0. +1 is great, and the -X is really good at sweeping out those early threats or anything like that we need to deal with. Chandra is a really good planeswalker. And lastly, winding up the main deck before we move on to lands, is Sorin Nemsis, which is a 6 casting planeswalker with 6 loyalty. Now, 2 of these modes are really good. The third mode I've not used a whole heap. The +1 ability is great. Being able to look at the top card of our library and have our opponent lose life equal to that converted mana cost is really good. The -X is fantastic to be able to kill opponents, planeswalkers and creatures is good. The -9, I don't know, it looks like you can win games, but like I said, I haven't really got Sorin to ult that often to tell you how good it is. The lands this time around are going to be 2 plains, 2 swamps, 1 mountain, 2 forest, 1 Hissing Quagmire, which is a land that enters the battlefield tapped. It adds for a green or a black. We can pay a generate mana, a black mana, a green mana to make it become a 2/2 black and green elemental creature with death touch in turn 10. We also are playing 2 Shambling Vent, which is a land that enters the battlefield tapped. It adds a white or a black, and then for 3 mana we make it into a 2/3 white and black elemental creature with lifelink in turn 10. We are also playing 1 Smoldering Marsh, which is a swamp mountain. It can tap for a red or a black. It enters the battlefield tapped unless we control 2 or more basic lands. 1 Cinder Glade, which is the same sort of land just for green and red. 2 Canopy Vista, which is the same land again, just for green and white. 1 Woodland Cemetery, which is a land that enters the battlefield tapped unless we control a swamp or a forest. It adds for a green or a black. 1 Rootbound Crag, which is the same as Woodland Cemetery, just for green and red. 1 Clifftop Retreat, same card again, just for red and white. 2 Isolated Chapel, same card again, just for black and white. 2 Sunpetal Grove, again it finishes off the cycle of check lands, these are called, because they check for a basic land, that's why they, check for a land type, that's what we call the check lands, and it's for green and white. And then finally we wind up the deck with 4 Evolving Wilds. Okay guys, so that is the deck tech for the Superfriends version 2. Hope you enjoyed it. If you want to go and check out the deck now in gameplay, that is in the screen now, and I will see you in the next deck tech.